All right, lesson 1.5, angle relationships. Two angles that lie in the same plane have a common vertex. I'm try and draw a picture for you. Have a common side but no common interior points. So something like this. So if this is angle A, B, C, and this one is angle C, B, D, notice that they share a vertex. B is the vertex that they share. They share a side. They share ray BC, but they have no common interior points, meaning there are no points that lie inside of angle ABC that also lie inside of angle CBD. So that means that these are adjacent angles. A pair of adjacent angles with non-common sides that are opposite rays. A pair of adjacent angles with non-common sides that are opposite rays. So opposite rays, ray BA, ray BD. So opposite rays. They have non-common sides, meaning this side is not common with that side, but they're adjacent. So they form a linear pair, which means that the two angles create a line. Okay? All right, two non-adjacent angles formed by two intersecting lines. Those are called vertical angles. So name two adjacent angles whose sum is less than 90. So remember, adjacent angles share a vertex and a common side. So if we were to look at angles BAC and angle CAD, they are adjacent because they share the vertex A and they have the common side ray AC. And if you look, the sum of those two angles is less than 90, 30 plus 55. So the two adjacent angles could be angle BAC and angle CAD. But I also see that I've got another pair of adjacent angles whose sum is less than 180, or sorry, less than 90. Angles NAF and angles FAE. Now I need to name two acute vertical angles. So vertical angles, let's talk about what the definition was for those again. Vertical angles are formed by two intersecting lines. So this is one line, and here's another line. They are intersecting, and the angles are not adjacent to each other. The word adjacent, if you think about your vocabulary terms, means next to. So they are not right next to each other. So they are not adjacent. So these two intersecting lines, these are their two non-adjacent angles. And if you look, the measure of those angles are 30 degrees. So that would be angle BAC and angle FAE. All right. Vertical angles are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent. Complementary angles are two angles with measures that sum up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are two angles that have measures that sum up to 180. So 90 degrees complementary makes a right angle. Supplementary 180 makes a straight angle. All right, so we are going to find the measure of two supplementary angles. Remember, supplementary means that they add up to 180. I have two supplementary angles. If the measure of one angle is 6 less than 5 times the measure of the other. So if we call one angle x, the measure of one angle x is 6 less than 5 times the other. So 5 times the other minus 6. That means that the sum of these two have to equal 180. Let's see, what is 5x minus 6 plus x equals 180? That'd be D. You guys see what I did? When I combine like terms, 6x equals 186. That's a poor error. Sorry. X equals 31. That means that this angle is 31 degrees. And then the 5 times 31 is 155 minus 6 is 149. Much better. Those add up to 180. 180 degrees. Supplementary adds up to 180. All right, so let's talk about some things that we think we know. So perpendicular lines. This is a pair of lines, two lines intersect, and this forms a right angle. Well, I know that if two lines intersect and one of them is a right angle, well, look at this. These are vertical angles, so that means this is also a right angle. But this forms a linear pair, which means they sum up to 180. So perpendicular lines form right angles. Okay? Perpendicular lines form two pairs of vertical angles. Perpendicular lines form for congruent angles. Okay. What else we can say? All right. So we have to find x and y so that line KO and line HM are perpendicular. So line KO, I'm going to color it yellow, and line HM. So if line KO and line HM are perpendicular, that means this must be a right angle, and this also must be a right angle. So that means that 3y plus 6 must equal 90, and this whole angle is angle KJI and angle IJH. So 3x plus 5 plus 9x must also equal 90. So 3y equals 84, y equals 28. When I combine like terms here, I have 12x equals, I believe that's 85. Is that oh, this is a 6. So 12x equals 84, x equals 7. So x equals 7 and y equals 28. Now I need to find the measure of x, or find the value of x, such that AD, line AD, is perpendicular to line CE. AD is perpendicular to line CD. Well, you see that if that's true, then 4x plus 5x must equal 90. That means that x equals 10. That one was easy. Easy for my tired brain. All right, so let's talk about things that can be assumed. When we look at a diagram, we're going to talk about things that we can assume. Okay. So we are able to assume that points are coplanar, meaning that all of these points lie on the same plane. We can look at it, we see that they're all on the same flat surface, so we can assume that they are coplanar. We can also assume that something is collinear. We can see that it makes a straight line, so we can assume that points are collinear. We can also see that, I did not want that to undo my highlighter. We can also see that ray HM, ray HL, ray HK, and line GH all intersect at point H, meaning this is the point of intersection. This vertex. All of the lines and rays intersect right there. We can also see that, I can't see what that says below there. Oh, we can see that H is between G and J. H is between. We can see that L is in the interior of MHK. So this is angle MHK, and point L lies in the interior of it. We can say that MHL and KHM, I think that's what it says. I can't see because of the way that this is set up. I can see that GHM and MHL are adjacent. Remember, adjacent means that they're next to each other. This angle right here is next to this angle right here. Remember, the definition of adjacent is that they share a vertex and they have a common side. Angle GHL right here, angle GHL. Let me erase all this really fast. Angle GHL and angle LHJ form a linear pair. Remember the definition of a linear pair: two adjacent angles that have non-common sides, meaning the sides that are not common, the sides that they don't share, form opposite rays. Okay? Things that cannot be assumed. You cannot assume that lines are perpendicular. The only way that you can determine that something is perpendicular is if it has a right angle inserted. A right angle tells you that they're perpendicular. You also cannot assume congruence. You can't look at something and just assume that they are congruent. All right, that's it. So you are done with your 1.5 notes. Your homework assignment is on Canvas. Good luck.